So much, everybody, again, for joining Amtrak Vacations as we travel to Canada. So first and foremost, let me just take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Jim Marini, proudly the Director of Sales for Amtrak Vacations. And hopefully each of you saw, by taking the time to attend today's presentation, I will be giving out a $50 gift certificate to one lucky person at the end of today's presentation. So I'm really excited about today. I hope all of you are as well. Hopefully some of you have attended many of my presentations over the past 6 months or so. And today, again, the focus is on Canada. So just want to leave this phone number up on the screen for just a few seconds so you can feel free to write it down. For any of you that are interested in any of the exciting packages that I highlight here today, I want to encourage you to give us a call. Our agents are here waiting to help each of you and your friends and family with any of these wonderful packages. That number is 1-800-AMTRAC-2, otherwise 1-800-268-7252, or certainly you can book any of these exciting packages through your partners here in the States. So real quick, for those of you that are joining us or certainly have had an opportunity to travel on Amtrak, why Amtrak Vacations? You know, as I mentioned at the beginning of all of my presentations, we took a survey just about a few years ago and really just reached out to all of our travelers and many of you possibly here today as to why Amtrak Vacations. And really the top reason was it is a bucket list experience. And hopefully for many of you today, it's something that you've thought about and are looking forward to, and really it is our top reason. So wish list experience, and traveling on Amtrak is such a wonderful way to experience not only the United States but even up into Canada. Less hassle. Everything now is all electronic, e-ticketing, e-documents, so we really try to make it as easy as we can. Obviously, you can board the trains as they arrive into the station, so it's a very seamless process. Satisfy your hunger. I always love that because there is definitely some great cuisine on board, anything from certainly the dining carts to the snack cars, so lots of options. Travel green, that's always a plus. City-to-city service, what you'll hear today too is certainly for those of you interested in traveling to some of the great Canadian cities such as Niagara Falls, Toronto, Montreal. So many of those routes start within New York City Penn Station, which is really one of the best stations to travel in and out of here in the United States, and really it's in the heart of New York City. Flexibility, again, multiple departures daily throughout the country. Room to roam, yes, we want you to get up, walk around, stretch your legs, and also know that more baggage is allowed. So where does Amtrak travel to? I always love showing this map, everyone. Amtrak actually has over 500 stations throughout the United States. So as I feature the great Canadian cities that you could travel to from the United States, just know that there's over 500 stations in the United States that you can start and or end your trip in. Now, if you look at the map here, everyone, all the red lines is actually where Amtrak travels through. So Amtrak actually travels to 46 out of the 48 continuous states within the United States, with the exception of Wyoming and South Dakota. Last year, over 31 million people traveled on Amtrak. Again, I'll repeat that, over 31 million people traveled on Amtrak, and hopefully many of you on today's call, today's presentation, have had the pleasure of traveling on Amtrak. I did want to mention as I go through today's presentation, I want to encourage each and every one of you to type in any questions that you may have, and I'll do my very best to answer as many as I can before the end of today's presentation, which is scheduled just about 35 to 40 minutes. So I try to keep them short and sweet and hopefully just whet your appetite and get you excited about all the great vacation types and packages that we have. So today's focus is going to be more on our independent rail journeys, which is basically our trips that operate every day, okay, daily departures. Also, you and your friends and family have the choice of either moderate or deluxe style hotels, so keep that in mind with any of our independent rail journeys. We do have some escorted rail journeys as well. So for those of you that like the comfort of having a tour guide or a tour manager from the time you start the trip in the first city until the time that you end, and having that tour manager, having most meals included, and you like the tours a little more structured, then you may want to consider one of our many escorted rail journeys. We do also have 3 and 4 and 5 day rail getaways. We have rail and sail out of Alaska, which is great, so I'll touch into those just a little bit. And then we also have family adventures. And you're going to hear even my own little personal story, how this summer I'm actually taking my wife and 3 children, and we're going on a Niagara Falls family adventure. So lots and lots of great options, okay? Speaking of great options, take advantage today, everyone. Certainly before the end of this month, we are offering up to $300 off per couple for any of you that book into any of our escorted packages, okay? Off $300 off per couple if you book before the end of this month to travel anytime this year all the way up until the end of March of 2016. We are also offering up to $150 per couple for any of our independent journeys. So again, everyone, give us a call. That number, 1-800-AMTRAK-2, or again, contact your local travel agent to book any of these exciting packages. So as I mentioned, there's over 500 stations here in the United States that you can start and or end in with Amtrak. So what I wanted to do is just give you a little overview on the seating and sleeping options on board the train. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, everyone, it says coach seating. You know, I always say coach seating to me is almost like economy plus or economy comfort on a U.S.-based airline. And what does that mean? You have much more leg room, as you can see in the picture. Very spacious, very comfortable. You also have some great space above your overhead. On certain routes in the United States, we also offer business class. However, for any of you that will be traveling overnight on the train and you'd like to stay in one of our sleepers, then definitely consider either our roomettes or bedrooms. Now, roomettes for us, everyone, just so you know, are by far our most popular category of any of our sleeper accommodations. And as you can see, it is bunk bed style, okay? So typically, roomettes fit up to 2 adults. Superliner roomettes are all the roomettes on our trains that head from Chicago out west to California, up north, and then Chicago out east to New York City would be our what we call a private yet shared bathroom. So what does that mean? What that lets everyone know is anyone staying in roomettes has 2 bathrooms and 2 showers that they have access to in the same train car as the other 10 roomettes. So the bathroom and shower is not physically inside of your roomette. However, it is in the same train car as the other roomettes, which again is about 10 roomettes per train car. There is also a private there to help and make sure your journey is just a trip to remember. Now, for any of you that do want your own bathroom and your own shower inside of your room, then you would want to consider upgrading to a bedroom. Again, any of these are offered certainly for any of your overnight train journeys. But a reminder, roomettes by far our most popular category and many times the most affordable. In some cases, when I look at some of our packages to upgrade from coach seating up to a roomette, many times can be as minimal as $50 to $100 up to $200 per person. But again, not only is that going to give you your own private accommodations, but it's also going to include all of your meals on your overnight train journey. So keep that in mind, okay? That's a big highlight. So whatever meals are offered during your overnight train journey, when you upgrade into a roomette or a bedroom, you will have all of those included automatically. And if it's breakfast, it's choice of omelets, eggs, waffles, pancakes, bagels. Lunch time could be cheeseburgers, turkey club, chicken club, chicken, steak, or fish. So today we're going to feature the 4 great cities and the packages in between these cities that are available. So just so everyone knows, Amtrak actually travels up to 4 great Canadian cities: Vancouver, Niagara Falls, Toronto, and Montreal. So the first city I'm going to start out with is Vancouver. And for those of you that have not had a chance to travel to Vancouver, certainly for me, one of my absolute favorite cities in the world. It's ranked as actually one of the top 3 most livable places in the world. And of course, Vancouver, located north of Seattle. It's one of the top 10 cleanest cities in the world. And as some of you may remember, was also home to the 2010 Winter Olympics. So there's lots to see and do in this great city. Now, what I wanted to do is take you through some great packages here in the United States that so many of our travelers take advantage of before traveling to this great city. So one option for those of you that have ever wanted to go out to Glacier National Park might be our Glacier National Park Express. This particular package starts in Chicago, where we spend 2 nights, and then we have an overnight train out to Glacier National Park for a few nights before having another overnight train out to Seattle. When the tour ends, we then can travel from Seattle up north. It's about a 3-hour train ride up into the great city of Vancouver, where then you can spend 2, 3, 4, 5 nights, however long or as short as you would like. And speaking of that, on any of these packages that I highlight, certainly all trips, everyone, you have the flexibility to make these as long or as short as you want, to also keep the price as affordable as you would like, okay? So any of these trips that I go through today that are independent journeys can completely be customized just the way you like them, okay? So that's one option to get you up into the great city of Vancouver. Another great option for those of you that might want to see a little bit of the West Coast is our West Coast Spectacular. So in a package like this, you can actually start in Vancouver, spend a few nights if you choose, and then travel down to Seattle for a couple nights, then have an overnight journey on the train into San Francisco before ending in Los Angeles. Now, again, just a reminder, on any of our independent journeys, pricing is always based in coach seating on the train. However, you have the option to upgrade to a roomette or a bedroom, which we here at Amtrak Vacations highly encourage each and every one of you to consider. So again, give us a call, everybody. Our agents are here waiting to help you and your friends and family plan any of these great trips, or certainly contact your local travel agent. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we also have escorted tours available. And again, escorted tours, they're going to be a little more structured. However, more items will be included, more sightseeing tours, more meals, and of course you will have the comfort of having the tour guide with you. So here's a great tour, which again could start in Vancouver, where you spend time and then travel south, Glacier National Park, Yellowstone, and then of course Grand Tetons, and then over into great package. This, again, happens to be one of our escorted packages that we have available, so keep that in mind. Going back to one of our independent journeys, here's another great package to consider. This is San Francisco traveling north up to Portland, Oregon, and then over into Seattle. So again, for those of you that want to start in the West Coast or the Midwest or the East Coast, wherever you want to start and end, again, Amtrak has over 500 stations in the United States. Now, this particular tour, you can see it travels north up into Seattle, but again, you can extend your trip into Vancouver. Vancouver, just a little bit more about the great city. One of the wealthiest cities in all of Canada. Actually has the largest film production center, second to Los Angeles, and it's home to Stanley Park, the Vancouver Aquarium, and they estimate Vancouver averages about 15 million visitors per year. Now, for those of you that want to experience Vancouver, but you'd like to also extend your trip either before or after and head out to Alaska, well, here is your opportunity, everyone. We here at Amtrak Vacations, we partner with Celebrity Cruises, so you have the option to not only spend time in Vancouver, but also travel down south on Amtrak into Seattle and then experience a wonderful cruise out to Skagway, Juneau, the Inside Passage, and really just enjoy the beautiful sights that Alaska has to offer. Now, for those of you that want to extend your trip, not only out Canada, and in particular the Canadian Rockies, that's when we join forces, everybody. And to me, you not only get two amazing countries, the United States and Canada, but you get the experience of two amazing train experiences. So here you have the opportunity to now travel also on board Via Rail, which actually connects to over 450 communities across Canada. So Via Rail itself is the national train of Canada, so we have the opportunity to also partner and combine an entire trip, an entire vacation for you, not only traveling on Amtrak, but also traveling on Via Rail. Now, Via Rail is similar to Amtrak, economy class, rather, very comfortable, great seating. They do also have a sleeper class, again, as you can see, bunk bed style, very, very common for any of the major trains throughout the world. And then they even have prestige sleeper class, which would be their upscale class available. The difference with this class is it does have the bed on the lower level, so no bunk bed style on the prestige sleeper class. So if this is an area you're interested in, again, give us a call. We can help you with any of these arrangements, as well as your local travel agent. Now, whether it's Amtrak or whether it's on Via Rail, the cuisine, the food is spectacular. So let's feature a couple of our Canadian Rockies packages. Now, as I mentioned, again, all of these packages will either start or end in the United States on Amtrak. So this package starts in Seattle, where we travel on Amtrak up north from Seattle into Vancouver before heading out from Vancouver, where we spend a few nights on an overnight train to Jasper, Banff, before ending in Calgary. And I got to tell you, everybody, I've traveled all over the world. I've been very fortunate being in the travel industry for many years, and the scenery throughout the Canadian Rockies is probably one of the top 5 most scenic areas I've ever seen in the world. So again, not only do you get two amazing countries that you get a chance to see and explore within the United States and Canada, but you get two amazing train experiences. Here's some pictures also of Jasper. Absolutely beautiful. And as we leave from Jasper and we travel down to Lake Louise and Banff, some of these pictures actually are going to be more in the Lake Louise, Banff area. And they are absolutely spectacular. Now, the time to go to the Canadian Rockies, typically for many of our travelers, we always suggest the months of May through September, very similar to traveling throughout the Glacier National Park, for instance. So this is a beautiful time of the year to travel. Here in the bottom right-hand corner, you actually have a picture of what's called Banff Avenue, kind of the main street within the town of Banff. Absolutely beautiful city. They got great little restaurants. They have a fudge factory located nearby. As I mentioned, all of these wonderful Canadian Rocky packages either start or end in the United States. So here's a package which starts in Edmonton, but it ends in San Francisco. So 12 days, 11 nights. And just a reminder again, whether it's any of our exciting packages that are in the United States and travel up north into Canada, or any of the packages we have within Canada, any of these can be customized to be as long or as short as you would like, because there are independent journeys. So here you can see the map on the right-hand side, again, starting in Edmonton, which, by the way, over 50%, 50, over 50% of our travelers, everyone, will actually fly round trip, over 50%. So you have the option to fly, if you choose, to and or from the starting and ending city, or you can fly one way and train back the next direction, or vice versa. Again, you can take care of that, or your local travel agent can help you with those arrangements. As I mentioned, this particular tour does end in San Francisco. Absolutely spectacular. Known as City by the Bay. Here we have the Golden Gate Bridge. They estimate it takes about 4 years to paint this bridge, every 4 years from start to finish. Of course, San Francisco, one of the most expensive real estate districts in the United States, but known for their great seafood, all great cuisine and restaurants. Now, we do also have a package that ends in Seattle. So for those of you that would like to start in Edmonton but then end in Seattle, well, we have that option for you as well. So as I mentioned, Vancouver itself, everybody, one of 4 great Canadian cities that we feature on the western part of North America. So definitely keep that in mind. And for those of you that just want, again, 3 or 4 nights in Vancouver or Victoria, here is a great Vancouver getaway where you get to choose what hotel you prefer to stay at. Again, any of our independent journeys or getaway trips, which are our 3, 4, and 5-day trips, you get to choose hotels anywhere from Holiday Inn, Ramada Inn, all the way up to Marriott, Hilton, Westin, Sheraton hotels. You get to choose which properties you prefer to stay at, when you want to stay at, how long you're looking to travel. Here's a great package where it's Vancouver and Victoria. So Victoria, otherwise known as Vancouver Island, absolutely spectacular, typically around 3 o'clock every day. Over at the Empress Hotel, they have what's known as high tea, and it is a spectacular area. So afternoon tea located there, 2 nights accommodations in Victoria as well as 2 nights in Vancouver. We do have a city tour, but again, these are travel how you want, where you want, when you want. So lots and lots of flexibility. So that is Vancouver, everybody, and all the great packages that we have available either before or after that great city. And as I mentioned, there's 3 other great cities. So let me just give you some fun little tidbits on each of these other 3 great cities you could travel north into Canada on Amtrak. So again, Vancouver was the first city. Niagara Falls, located on the border of Ontario, Canada, and New York. As I mentioned, yes, I am taking my family there this summer. I'm very, very excited. We're having an opportunity to travel together 5 days, 4 nights in Niagara Falls. The falls itself is made up of 3 waterfalls: the American Falls, the Bridal Veil Falls, and the Horseshoe Falls. Horseshoe Falls is actually the largest falls in Niagara Falls, and Bridal Veil is the smallest. They combine to actually produce the highest flow of water in the world. The largest drop in Niagara Falls is 165 feet, and they were created about 10,000 years ago by glacier activity. Niagara Falls State Park here in the United States is actually the oldest national park in the United States, dating back to 1885, and they average about 30 million visitors every single year. So that's the second city that Amtrak travels north into. The third great city is Toronto. I actually have a lot of family in Toronto, actually in a suburb called Woodbridge, ranked as one of the safest cities in all of North America. They estimate by 2020, Toronto will actually have the highest number of condominiums, believe it or not, in the world. Toronto is known for the International Film Festival behind Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival. Also has the largest number of people from the country of Italy, outside of Italy. Also, the CN Tower, as you can see there, straight ahead in this beautiful picture, completed in 1975, and it's over 1,800 feet tall. And it's also ranked as one of the most multicultural cities in the world, as over 50% of the residents were actually born outside of Canada. Over 50% of the residents were born outside of Canada. And they estimate the population is about 2.5 million people. And the last great city that I'm going to highlight before I feature all the great packages available to and from these great cities is Montreal. Now, for those of you that may not be as familiar with Montreal, it is actually an island. Believe it or not, it's about 30 miles long. It's the second largest French-speaking city in the world, next to Paris. And I always say, if you want to save time and money and feel like you're traveling to Europe, travel to Montreal. Travel to Quebec City. You can do both of those great cities too, by the way, with Amtrak Vacations, everyone. Again, give us a call. That number is 1-800-268-7252. Again, 1-800-268-7252. Or again, you can book any of these exciting packages that I'm going to highlight here today through your local travel agent. Hockey, of course, the famous sport in all of Canada. They say about 85% of all the world's maple syrup actually comes from Quebec, right outside Montreal. It's the second highest number of restaurants per capita behind New York City, and that's Montreal. Montreal was also home to the 1976 Olympics, and believe it or not, what a lot of people might not realize is it actually has one of the largest underground cities in the world. There's over 2,000 stores underground the city, over 7 metro stations. And it is definitely one of the best, most exciting European cities just north of the border into Canada. So here's some of the packages that we offer where you can take advantage of these great cities. We have a New York and Eastern Canada package. This is 11 days, 10 nights. So again, for those of you that want to have more of an all-inclusive trip where you can feature these great cities, you might want to consider this trip. But again, as I mentioned, any of these trips can be as long or as short as you would like. You can focus on certain cities in particular. Now, as I mentioned, whether it's traveling to Niagara Falls, Toronto, or Montreal, all the trains pretty much start and originate in Penn Station, at Penn Station in New York City. Of course, the city that never sleeps, just an amazing city. So to be able to have some time to spend in New York before traveling up north into Canada is a great experience. As I mentioned, if you do want to focus on certain cities, well, here's a New York City and Montreal getaway, 5 days, 4 nights. Now, you'll also notice not only on this package, but many of our packages, we always include a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour on many of our packages. And basically, that's a nice way to get in and around the city without needing to rent a car. However, if you do need to rent a car in the United States, we can take care of that for you as well. But a hop-on, hop-off tour is typically included in all of our packages, not only here in the States, but also into Canada. We do also offer what we call our City Pass, which basically is a booklet that allows you entrance into many of the great sites within any of these great cities, and also avoiding the long lines as well. So that's a big advantage. We have a Canada and New England cruise, believe it or not, where we partner with Norwegian Cruise Line. So not only do you have an option to go on a beautiful Alaska cruise and be able to book it all right through Amtrak Vacations or your local travel agent, but also right here within the eastern part of Canada, where you can take advantage of the great city of New York before traveling up north into Halifax, St. John, and Portland, Maine. So again, another great package to consider. As I mentioned, we do have 3- and 4-day packages available to Montreal, 3-, 4-, 5-day trips available to Niagara Falls, as well as Toronto. So any of these independent trips that you're interested, again, we're offering up to $150 off everyone per couple, as long as you book before the end of this month with a small deposit. Deposits, just so you know, range anywhere from $100 to $250 per person, okay? And that will at least secure you being able to take advantage of the great savings. And speaking of savings, again, anyone interested, we're offering $300 off per couple. So again, everyone, that number, 1-800-AMTRAC-2, or certainly you can contact your local travel agent. So with that in mind, as I promised earlier, I like to keep my presentation short and sweet. So why Amtrak Vacations? Again, everyone, it's a bucket list experience, less hassle, satisfy your hunger, travel green, city-to-city service, okay, flexibility, room to roam, more baggage, over 500 stations to travel to and or from in the United States, over 500 Amtrak stations. So lots of great options to travel into Canada, either through Vancouver, either through Niagara Falls, Toronto, or Montreal. And if you choose to extend your trip once you get up into Canada, well, now it's all possible, and you can make your entire reservation in one directly to Amtrak Vacations or through your local travel agent. So again, everyone, whatever vacation type you're interested in, whether it's our independent rail journeys, escorted rail journeys, 3-, 4-, 5-day rail getaways, our rail and sail to Alaska or Eastern Canada, or even our family adventures, give us a call, take advantage of the great savings. And with that in mind, everyone, on behalf of Amtrak Vacations and Traveling to Canada, I want to say thank you. I also want to announce today's winner, But I want to encourage everyone of you, we have a few minutes left, okay, before today's presentation ends. And any questions I do not get to today, everyone, I want to make sure that you know we will reach out to you definitely by today or tomorrow the latest, okay? So I want to definitely let you know that. So with that in mind, I need a drum roll. Where is my drum roll? Okay, the winner of today's $50 Amtrak Vacations gift certificate is Ken Dickinson. Ken Dickinson, congratulations, Ken. You are today's winner of our $50 Amtrak Vacations gift certificate. So anyway, want to thank you very much. So with that in mind, let me just open it up to some questions. Again, the presentation today is scheduled for about 35 minutes, so we have a few minutes left. So first and foremost, first question from Mary. How much, again, is deposit, and how does your cancellation policy work? Okay, great question, Mary. So again, deposits on any of these trips, if they are 3, 4, or 5-day getaway trips or family adventures trips, deposit is as minimal as $100 per person. For any of our longer journeys, 7 to 10 to 12 days, deposits will range anywhere from $100 to $250 per person. And the way we work any of our cancellation policies is we always offer that as an option, okay? But that allows any of you to be able to cancel for any reason right up until 12 noon business day prior, and you'll get all of your money back with the exception of the cost of the cancellation waiver. So very, very flexible. So definitely keep that in mind as well, okay? Next question from Tim. How long is the train ride from Seattle up to Vancouver? Great question, Tim. It is about 3 hours, okay? So it's a short train ride, absolutely beautiful. For those of you that are looking to travel to Niagara Falls, Toronto, Montreal, typically those, as I mentioned, wherever you start, typically you'll have to connect in through Penn Station, New York City, which is the main hub, so to speak, main train station that travels up into any of those 3 great cities. And that's going to be a nice journey throughout the day, taking you from Penn Station up into any of those 3 great cities. So definitely keep that in mind as well, okay? Next question from Donald. What type of payment do you accept? On any of our packages, you can always pay by any of the major credit cards, okay, or check. So if that is easier for you, absolutely. Next question from Alton. Will there be meals with gluten-free items or any special requests such as sandwiches? Great question, Alton. Anyone that has any dietary requirements, absolutely just let us know. We can certainly put that in the reservation and accommodate each and every one of you if anyone has any special meal requests, or certainly you can let your local travel agent know as well, and he or she can take care of that. So definitely keep that in mind. Next question from Jerry. Did you say we can fly into any of these cities and or take the train? So great question, Jerry. So again, over 50%, 50, over 50% of our travelers, everyone, will actually fly round trip to and or from the starting and ending city, and then take advantage of the wonderful train experience on Amtrak and or via rail if any of you are interested in the Canadian Rockies, okay? So again, you have the option, or you can train to the starting point and then fly home, or vice versa. So again, whatever is easier for you. Again, you can definitely take advantage of that, or certainly your local travel agent can help you with any of those airline reservations as well. So whatever they can do to help, or certainly what you see that might be your best value, definitely keep that in mind. Next question from Marcia. Can handicap people also travel on either of the trains? Yes, absolutely, Marcia. Now, what I will share with everyone, again, roomettes for us are by far our most popular, but for any handicap accessible rooms, those are on a very limited basis. Typically, there's 2 to 3 handicap accessible rooms on the train. So those do fill up very fast, obviously, because they're very, very limited. But yes, we absolutely can help you with those arrangements. So please let that not be any distraction to not travel on any of these wonderful packages, because we can accommodate anybody that has those requests, okay? So yes, absolutely. Okay, next question from Gino. Is there a vacation package from Vancouver to Eastern Canada, such as Toronto or Ontario? Yes, great question, Gino. And actually, I'm going to leave this for the last question. I see we still have a lot more questions to get answered, but I don't want today's presentation to end before I'm finished. So yes, Gino, we do have packages, and what I always mention to everyone is whatever package you're thinking of, however long or as short as you're thinking of, chances are we already have a package available. And you can also check us out online, everyone, and then that's amtrakvacations.com. It's all one word, www.amtrakvacations.com, and you can take a look at all the great packages we have available up to Canada and throughout Canada. And again, keep in mind you can customize any trip as well. So we can make the trips as long or as short as you would like, and really try to do our very best to make it as affordable as we can within your budget. So just know, when you travel with Amtrak Vacations, you really have your one-stop shop partner, not only for train travel, including hotels, meals, sites here in the United States, but now, of course, up into Canada, and also in partnership with Via Rail as well. So with that in mind, everyone, again, I want to just congratulate Ken Dickinson again on winning today's $50 gift certificate. And again, for those of you I did not get to your questions, we will get those answered today, if not by tomorrow, the latest. And I encourage each and every one of you, and I'll just go back to it real quick, to take advantage of our great savings. Again, if you book into any of our independent or escorted journeys before the end of this month with a small deposit, again, to travel anytime this year up until the end of March of 2000, you will have some great savings. So with that in mind, again, everyone, on behalf of Amtrak Vacations, as we traveled to Canada, and myself, Jim Marini, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of you on board soon with Amtrak Vacations. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.